talk a little bit about labeling, because that seems to be an important factor, I think, in the way this is being presented. It's not being called a parking garage, it's being called an intermodal station, Fuller Park Station. And I'm just wondering how phase one of the project fits into this idea of a station. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I'll just say a word. It's, you know, we're not against
Trains.
Yeah, against train and against commuter rail, anything like that. That's the furthest from our mind. We know that that's an issue that's delayed now, maybe 3 years or 4 years before there'll be even a demonstration gets finished, if they ever can start, demonstration of ridership. And so we just want to make sure that people know that we're not against that. But what it raises, though, there's really essentially nothing in phase one in terms of you know, preparing the site or whatever for use as part of a you know, intermodal kind of a site. So it's important that that's understood. And of course, it raises a lot of issues, and there's a lot of aspects to this that are it's a very complicated sort of an arrangement. But so the key thing, I guess, is that what we're really focusing on is what's immediately more or less going to happen. It's going to be the parking garage, the parking decks, and because I think that's what it's all centered on right now. And there's you know, not straight information coming about, you know, who's going to supply the money. Apparently the university is going to provide the bulk of the money. If not all of it, there's been talk about the city borrowing money from the university so that they have upfront money available when they go and look for their federal loans, and that's so that they, you know, that they can qualify. A lot of the maneuvering that they've been making has been to get the city ready to look at, as if they qualify for these sources of money.
Well, why is the parking deck or garage going up now? Why don't you tell everybody why, so they all know?
Well, now it has to do with the hospital coming online, which is anticipated to be in 2011. The new hospital, the Mott and Women's Hospitals, will be open in 2011, I believe.
Yes.
They're opening even earlier than had been anticipated. And so there's a big amount of pressure to have additional parking available. Okay. But I did want to just jump back to the labeling question that you have, because yes. I think it is interesting that the people who are involved in the project do call it routinely an intermodal station, and the word parking structure is not used at all. And generally when they use an intermodal parking structure terminology, they also use the word train very quickly afterward to generate the excitement that a lot of people feel, including us, about having mass transit available to us. That would be something that would keep us off the roads, would reduce carbon footprint, it has many good things that we do value. The problem is that in the phase one that you described, there isn't a train station. There isn't the part of the big picture that's been discussed has been to move the train station that exists on Depot Street from that location up the hill to where this place is, and to develop a transit or the train station right there. However, in the phase one that has the greatest development of its ideas and planning and actual engineering designs available right now, there is no train station. So what we'll get is a very large parking structure, and we'll get space that is available underneath it to have buses and car entry into the multiple levels of the parking structure. But at least in phase one, there is not a train.
Right. My understanding is also that phase two will require another $74 million on top of what is also being asked for, which I think was not necessarily clear to the public, that it will take that much money.